Good evening, everyone. And on the docket tonight, it is the reigning ISC champion New York Gremlins in their 2024 debut, and they'll take on British Columbia's Steveston Canadians, who downed Pukeest 11-2 in their opener. And Peter Loubardias alongside Joe Todd for the broadcast of this one on Softball Premier TV and, of course, the ISC network, as you get a look at all the great jerseys and souvenir options on a beautiful night. Joe, they're the best in the business right now, and they've had a year that looks like they're ready to repeat, talking about the Gremlins.
They are the number one team all year. They're number one in the rankings right now. They're out to pursue their second in a row right now, and they're the champs. They have a target on their back, so everyone wants to beat them.
Everybody wants to do it. Can they do it?
Yes.
And a little surprising, but they will start the game in the circle. As you look at the lineup that the Steveston Canadians will feature, leading off Merrick Roberts, Yoshi Hakita. We'll get to his story. What a day he had yesterday. But he'll have his hands full, Joe Todd, because
yes, he will.
I think he's the best on planet Earth, and he's just 20 years old in the circle. His name is Jack Besgrove from New South Wales, Australia. He won't turn 21 until December the 17th. And at that tender age, there isn't anything in this sport of a high level that he has not won.
He's done it all right now, and just look at the age bracket that you just mentioned at 21. He's going to be around this game for a good 10 years.
If he stays healthy, it will be amazing what Mr. Besgrove has the opportunity to do. By the way, the reigning top pitcher at the ISC World Tournament, the top pitcher in the recently completed ASA National Men's Championship.
Just recently completed in Rockford, Michigan.
Led Australia to the most recent Men's World Cup title. Outside of that, Jack Besgrove, your resume needs work. My goodness, as he delivers the first pitch to shortstop Merrick Roberts, who leads things off for the Steveston Canadians. He was 1 for 2 in their win yesterday, and he scored 2 runs. Number 10, and this is a great opportunity for some of these teams to face someone like the Gremlins and Besgrove in particular. And we've seen other elite teams today in their first game, give the ball to their top player, as Waymo did in our first game today for the Northeast Drillers.
I really feel it's a chance for the teams to get some use into their starting pitcher, and probably going to pitch 1 or 2 innings, maybe once through the order, and just to get some work in. Going to be a long week, but they need some work too.
What really impresses me so far about Besgrove is how good he is when it matters the most, Joe.
Yes. He really bears down with runners on base.
Even when you reflect back to an event earlier this year, Australia was in a lot of trouble trying to qualify for next year's Men's World Cup. And he had a bit of a difficult start until they really needed it.
Yes.
And then he completely took over. In fact, in that qualifying tournament in Hermosillo, Mexico, he struck out 70 batters. That's 7-0.
And that temperature that was down in Hermosillo that week was
about
in the
70 Celsius.
Yeah.
Well, he has his first strikeout of the 2024 edition, does Jack Besgrove, and now facing third baseman Brad Miller. And Miller with a good swing as he fouls it off, and Eric Ochoa goes down the line to retrieve it. All Eric did at the recently completed ASA National Championships was be the top batter, the most valuable player, and he hit the most home runs.
Other than that, he was fairly quiet.
Yeah, it was a quiet week for him. Ah, what a great night. What a great day. And Besgrove goes upstairs for strikeout number 2. And there will be plenty more of those to come. He's
Certainly
not the hardest thrower in the world in terms of pure velocity, but the spin, Joe, the movement, and I remember sitting right directly behind him with you and Blair earlier this year in Simcoe, and you're close enough there in the booth to basically reach out and touch him. And I described Jack's ball as heavy. When it hits the glove, there's a thud.
Yeah, you hear it. I saw him for the first time last year at the ISC World Tournament in Denmark, Wisconsin. And the way I kind of described his ball and his pitching style was his rise ball was explosive. The timing of his rise ball, where it's moving just before the batter's time, and it was just amazing. I've seen this game for 45 years now, and I was amazed.
You're right. It's the late movement.
Yeah, the late movement is where it's happening just in front of the batter.
So critical, and a great point that you make. The late movement makes it so difficult. And Yoshi Hakita, what a day he had yesterday, and Steveston Canadians win. 2 home runs and 6 runs batted in for the catcher. But, like the 2 previous batters, now you're dealing with Jack Besgrove, who strikes out the side. The Gremlins coming to bat when we return on the ISC Network.
Well hit, deep right field. It's curving. This one, well hit to deep right field this time, and that one is gone. Trying to put it away is Jack Besgrove. The New York Gremlins are world champions.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Start spreading the news, Joe Todd. It's New York, New York.
Bottom of the first, the New York Gremlins coming to bat with, I would suggest, a rather talented group of 9 as they make their way to the batter's box with Canadian national team member Matthew Waugh leading off. You see Cole Evans in the 4 spot, Avery Hunter, Lucio Retamar. Just another quality ad for this team after playing elsewhere last year. Malarzouk, when you can hit Ladislaw Malarzouk in the 8-hole, the longtime Argentine national team member, you're in pretty good shape. And there is the defensive positioning behind the starting pitcher, who is Tyler Lindgren for the Steveston Canadians, dealing with 36-year-old Matthew Waugh from St. Gervais, Quebec. 10 for 20. In this event last year, tied for 3rd in batting average, and a 6-time all-world member at this event.
Great leadoff batter. Can poke the ball out of the ballpark, got a great eye at the plate, can just slap it for a single if he needs to.
Now, some would suggest that maybe doesn't happen often enough, and he'll slap one into a gap to open the game. Walk and fly, and here he goes on his way to 3rd with a triple to open. Matthew Waugh starts right where he left off in 2023.
Defensively for the Steveston Canadians, in left field Clint Taylor, center field Ryan Shields, right field Logan Newman, third base Brad Miller, shortstop Merrick Roberts, second base Matt Deutsch, first base Dustin Marat, catching Yoshi Hakita, and pitching Tyler Lindgren.
31-year-old Eric Ochoa, the batter, coming off the fabulous performance at the ASA National Championships. 9 for 22 in this event 1 year ago. 409 batting average, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in.
A true professional hitter.
They have many. And in fact, I would make an argument that their best is injured, or one of their best.
Jerome.
There are the umpires, Trevor Topping from Canada, Tom Keller, and Eric Salgado, both from the United States of America. Jerome Remeke fractured a forearm in a tournament earlier this year in Saskatoon, just prior to the World Cup qualifier. A diving stop. It'll score the run, but nicely done by Matt Deutsch.
Good play by Deutsch. Make sure that ball stays in front of him.
Deutsch ranging towards the bag. Exactly the case, Joe. Keep it in front of you and make the play. But an RBI for Ochoa, and it's 1-0 for the Gremlins. And here is one of the elite in the outfield in Ben Anoka. 34 years of age from Auckland, New Zealand.
I don't know how accurate your stats are. Today's his birthday. Is it 35?
Then it would be 35. Listen, give me a break, Joe.
Happy birthday, Ben.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Guy jumped on me in a heartbeat.
Got that researched.
I don't notice all the other research going on in this booth.
I got his birthday.
Well, no. Well, good, and I'm glad you did. Well, happy birthday, Mr. Anoka, and I'm sorry I missed it. I guess the 90 hours of work and preparation weren't quite enough. This is a tough crew.
Tough crew.
Tough crowd.
Yeah. Always got to be sharp.
8 for 26 was the birthday boy last year. 7-time All-World player, 2-time Most Valuable player, and was a first-team All-Utility player at the ASA Nationals. He has a great eye, Joe.
Yes.
That's one of the things about him. Birthday boy or not, that doesn't change.
Knows the strike zone extremely well.
A nice pitch. Strikeout recorded by Tyler Lindgren.
Nice pitch moving on the outside of the plate. First strikeout of the game for Lindgren.
Well, that'll help you settle in against a lineup like this. Tyler's second inning of work. He did throw an inning yesterday in the win over Pukeist. Gave up a run on 2 hits, struck out a couple. And now dealing with one of the premier players on the planet in Cole Evans. 5 tools. I say it all the time, so I'll repeat it. Born to play the sport.
Yes.
It's just
a natural.
An absolute natural. There isn't anything that he doesn't do well. He'd probably be sick and tired, so will his family and anybody else after the broadcasting of games about him this year. But this guy, he walks in a room, he just has a presence about him too. You watch him throw the ball from shortstop. The words technically sound, Joe, come to mind when you watch this gentleman go about his business. And he's only 26 years old. Unless is it his birthday today,
no,
too?
Just Ben.
Okay. That's a strike from Lindgren. Well, Evans was some fired up in helping his country to guarantee themselves a spot in July in Prince Albert, and he was a big part of them finishing second. It wasn't easy, and he draws a 2-out walk. Matthew Waugh led off the inning with a triple and then scored on the ground out by Ochoa. And 37-year-old Canadian national team member, long time, in fact, Brian Avery. This must be exciting for him. He's from nearby Richmond, British Columbia. I know it's a very special time for all the BC players to come home and play in this event where they've played and starred for so long in other communities.
You actually get to sleep in your own bed.
Possibly. Brian was quiet at last year's tournament, which was odd for him, just 1 hit. And he won't pick up his first of 2024 here either. So give Tyler Lindgren and the Steveston Canadians credit. They hold the defending champs to just one run. And by the way, it's not my birthday today either. Thank goodness. I don't need another one. Back with more on the ISC Network.
How confident are you in your organization's security posture? If your answer isn't 100%, you're not alone. Most organizations aren't doing enough to protect their data, and they know it. With Armitage Technology, you can stop worrying about IT security issues so you can focus on moving your business forward. Our experienced staff monitor and maintain your IT infrastructure to keep your business running. Visit us at armitagetech.com and make your technology work for your business.
Jack Besgrove and the Gremlins back in the field. They lead the Steveston Canadians from British Columbia by a count of 1-0 after a Matthew Waugh triple and a groundout by Eric Ochoa. And leading things off for Steveston, designated player and a veteran in Greg Garrity, Joe.
Yes, a big power hitter. You don't want to make a mistake against Greg Garrity. He'll put one in the trees. Jack Besgrove on the mound, though. He can pick a corner.
Well, 3 strikeouts for Jack. We'll see how long he stays in the circle in a game where the Gremlins are obviously heavily favored to win. But nice work by Tyler Lindgren, the opposition pitcher, to give up just 1 hit against that lineup.
Had a great inning.
Impressive is a 1-1 on its way to Garrity. And Besgrove looks to paint the outside corner and misses outside. 2 balls and a strike. Mentioned the 70 strikeouts at the World Cup qualifier, Group A, for Besgrove earlier this year. And he did that, by the way, in no less than 33 2/3 innings. So do the math.
Yeah.
That's 2 an inning, Joe.
Yes. Extremely impressive.
I can't add 34 to get to 35, but that one I can figure out.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. At the ISC last year, Besgrove went 4-1 in 31 1/3, and he struck out 63.
Again, around that 2 an inning.
He is special, but Garrity with a good swing, and he knew it. He was right on that pitch from Besgrove. And again, you somewhat offend people, I think, a little bit, because Besgrove is still young and has a lot to accomplish to be mentioned in the same vein as his fellow countrymen, Kirkpatrick, especially Adam Folkert, and others. But, Joe, not a lot of resumes at 20 years of age that have what he's done on them.
No, he's done a great job so far, and he's got a big career ahead of him.
Well, this changeup was superb, and he's faced for and struck out for as he deals with left fielder Clint Taylor. Clint was 1 for 2 with a triple and an RBI in the Steveston win yesterday in their tournament opener. And busting him inside was Besgrove. Doesn't seem to expend a lot of energy either.
Oh, he's so smooth. Everything just big fluid motion.
Didn't take the first base umpire long to say he went around In fact, he couldn't get to it fast enough. Ball and 2 strikes. Great to be with you on this beautiful night in this spectacular softball facility, Softball City, and that's 5. And no one's surprised.
Defensively for the New York Gremlins across the outfield, Matthew Watt in left field, Ben Anoka in center, Lucio Redemar in right field, Brian Avery at third base, Cole Evans at shortstop, Ladislav Malazuk at second base, Eric Ochoa at first base, Nick Mullins doing the catching, and as we mentioned, Besgrove on the mound.
Ryan Shields is the batter. He was 0 for 1 yesterday, scored a run for Steveston in their win. And I know that you and Blair, when we worked together in Simcoe earlier this year, everybody raves about the job that Nick Mullins does behind the plate and how he makes pitchers better.
Yes, he works with the pitchers and off the field too, away from the game, spends time with them.
Well, one of the best in the business is Mullins. And catching Besgrove, he'll represent his country again, talking about Nick Mullins, the upcoming World Cup Group B or Group C, the final stage in Oklahoma City in September. Besgrove, too much for Steveston through 2. It's 1-0 for the defending champs.
He came from Australia with a superstar pedigree. And from his first ISC in 2003, you knew he was going to be something special. 6 times All-World, a 3-time ISC champion, and now the first Aussie inducted into the ISC Hall of Fame. From counting materials and the farm in Wisconsin, to Kitchener, to finding a home in the New York Gremlins colours. Congratulations, Jeff Goolagong, from all of us.
HRD Bat Co. owners Nick Shales and Trevor Oakes want to bring the best quality bats to baseball players all over the world. Our pro-grade wood combined with our finish process makes them some of the hardest bats with the biggest pop in the game. Customization is our specialty. We offer a variety of handcrafted models and unlimited design. Visit us at hrdbatco.com.
Well, today's a special day as Blake Hunter steps in the batter's box because earlier today at the Hall of Fame breakfast, there were some fabulous players recognized for their efforts in this game. And a gentleman in behind me by the name of Jeff Goolagong has gladly joined us, one of the newest members of the ISC Hall of Fame, just a fabulous player back in the day. And bring on Blair Setford. I can't think of anybody better to interview the Hall of Famer as this game continues.
Thanks, Peter, and we'll welcome in Jeff Goolagong. Played for, Jeff, I think 15 years, is that right? 15 ISC World Tournaments?
No. Waving a couple of fans in the front.
a couple of Aussies right here in the front row.
Yeah, no, played 12 seasons over here.
12 ISC seasons.
Yeah.
Now, let's go right back to the very beginning because you came over with a youth team or played in the youth tournament, and you were pitching too, I believe.
No, it was a Brisbane Scorpions team, so much like the Tropics are doing this week. Yeah, come over and come with those guys and got introduced to ISCs, and out of that was lucky enough to get a phone call to come back the following year.
Fantastic. You played so many different positions over the course of your career. I've got this great memory of you playing third base and shortstop, but you covered the outfield as well. When you first came to the ISC, what was that experience like? Was it an eye opener?
Oh, massive eye opener. Like coming from Australia, we had nothing like this. You know, we've got our national tournament, but there's nothing as big as this. And I remember walking in the first ISCs I went to with the Brisbane Scorpions was at Kimberley, Wisconsin. So no better place to get an introduction.
That's a pretty
pitch
sweet
softball,
spot.
right,
Yeah.
you know. And crowds are packed, the ballpark's packed. Everyone knows the game inside and out. So it was just good to be in that environment and come and see, these legends that I've heard of the game, and I could actually see them in the real life.
And you did a stint in Wisconsin with County Materials. Now that team was loaded. Talk about the experience there with County. What were the things that you learned, and who did you learn it from?
Oh, there's too many things to go on about that I learned. I just remember getting a phone call to go and play, and the gentleman that's sitting right in front of us that gave us away, Chris Kiefel, I was lucky enough to play with him with County Materials, and you see the quality of ball players that was in that team. What do you do? I just remember being a nervous little kid coming into that team, and all I did was just sit there and listen to what they had to say, because you're looking at so much experience across the ballpark. In every position, there's a world-class player.
Right.
So all I did was really, the first year, was sit down and listen to what they had to say, listen to the conversations that they have, because I learned so much just doing that, because they have so much knowledge of the game.
You had Andrew Kirkpatrick introduce you today at the Hall of Fame breakfast this morning. Is that where you met Andrew? Was at County Materials, or did you guys know each other growing up?
Yeah, we knew each other growing up. Sort of played. I didn't start softball till I was about 14, and we were lucky enough to play for the same club back at home. So we actually grew up 10 minutes apart from each other. So pretty phenomenal that I got to play, juniors with Andrew, and then all of a sudden we're over here on the biggest stage and winning the IC together. That's a memory I'll cherish forever.
You would go on from County Materials to the farm, and I talked with Donnie Hale a little bit earlier, and everybody who's played for the farm talks about how special that environment was with Rod Peterson, the Rod Star hotels and the tournaments, and you talked about the Rod hit-away sign today, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, Rod didn't like to overcomplicate too many things. You look at the ball players that he's had over the years, it's pretty easy to coach them sort of players. And I was just lucky enough to be part of that. I remember I had some special times with Rod. Such a big sponsor of the game, such a big name, the Farm Tavern, and to get to play over there, and I cherish that very much. So, especially living in Madison, Wisconsin, I got along really well with Rod Peterson. I was with him going out to his farms, checking on his farms all the time, having, a couple of cold ones while we were doing it, a couple of cold ones. And just talking about life experiences, because he obviously had a wealth of knowledge about the world itself, right? So it was just good to sit down and chew the fat with him and have a beer,
One of the things that we all hear in these Hall of Fame speeches, and we're so fortunate enough to be able to attend these on an annual basis, is it's not so much the games that people remember. Of course, the scores are historical artifacts, but it's the friendships that you take away. How was that for you?
Oh, it's overwhelming, to be honest. Coming back to this ballpark and seeing so many faces, that's the best part of the game.
Yeah.
We're all very fortunate that we have sponsors of the teams and that and get us over here and play, but I just never realised how big the game would become to me because of all the friends that I made out of the game, lifelong friends. I was pretty happy we all got into the hotel last night, and I was sitting down, with Reese Casely, Nick Mullins, Andrew Kirkpatrick, sitting down having a beer. It's
just like time has passed, is it?
Yeah, it's just great to hear everyone's laughs again, speak with them, just about life experiences himself,
You spent a year in Kitchener. You guys picked up a U.S. national championship with Kitchener. That must have been a unique experience, going there to an established team and coming in. How was that?
Yeah, it was very different, to be honest. Going into a team that had just won back-to-back ISCs, I was looking forward to it. That's playing with a lot of players I hadn't played before as well, and I hadn't played for a Canadian team before. So I was really excited about the opportunity to go there and learn off someone special. You know, like there was Ryan Wolf in that team, there's Patrick Shannon in that team, you know, Jody Ite, Robbie Gray, like the list goes on. You know, I played with Brad Ezekiel there. You know, it was eye-opening. You know, just to be around those guys and see something different and play a few different tournaments as well. You know, get away from that Wisconsin setup. You know, we play a lot of the East Coast stuff. It was nice to be up and seeing something else.
Seeing something different in the experiences. You got to walk out in the field today and see all of the teams, a completely different perspective, I'd have to think, from prior participation.
Yeah, it's always been, you know, especially the last probably 10 years of my career where people that I'd started playing with started going into the Hall of Fame and seeing those guys walk out on the field. I felt very privileged to have played with a lot of those Hall of Famers prior. So to walk out today in front of the players, you know, that some of them played with, not too many now around, you know, when I played.
There's still a few for sure.
But yeah, it is, it's truly humbling, to be honest. It's a bit overwhelming at times.
You had a connection with, I think, just about everybody that was in your Hall of Fame class. Brad Rona, Robbie Schweier, Donnie Hale. You guys have all either played against or even were teammates over the years. How special is it in that group of people to be associated with them now?
Very special. Like with Robbie and Donnie, we've been talking about it all day. Like, you know, it was just not only when I got the news that I was going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame, but then seeing the other guys that were going in, you know, Brad Rayner, Robbie Schweier, Donnie Hale, I've won an ISCs with all of them.
Right.
You know, so that's pretty special.
That
in
is
itself.
indeed.
You know, that's quite unique, and I've got strong friendships with Donnie and Robbie. You know, we played a lot of years together, especially Donnie, you know. Won 3 ICs with Donnie.
Right.
Yeah, so we were living together, playing together, travelling together, and that's the kind of friendships, the special friendships that you build.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. The last few years of your career with the New York Gremlins, and they've got a special tribute, and we'll ask Luciano at the end of the inning to run the Goolagong tribute ad at the end of the inning. When the inning is over, to run the Jeff Goolagong ad, and Jeff can see it when the inning's over. But a lot of special memories, and Bruce Tansky and the Gremlins sponsoring your Hall of Fame induction here this morning. That's got to be something that you're quite grateful for, I'm sure.
Oh, very grateful. Look, spent my last 5 years at that organisation. We're better to finish up. You know, I was very, very grateful for the opportunity to go to New York Gremlins. You know, they allowed me to come over and travel with my family, bring my family over, because, you know, honestly, if that wasn't the case, I probably wouldn't have got the last 5 years of my career. And special organisation, they make sure everyone's looked after, nothing's a problem, everything can always get sorted. The quality of people that they bring into the team is something special as well. You know, everyone walks into that room like they're best mates and have known each other for a long time. So they recruit really good people, and then that turns out on the field, and look what they've done the last several years.
When I was researching things, and it came to me just all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, Jeff Goolagong is actually going to be the first Aussie to be going into the ISC Hall of Fame. Did you know that fact coming over, that you're the trailblazer for this?
Yeah, I did. I did know that. It was made clear to me quite early on that was something special, and I was actually chatting about it to one of the people today, and because they brought up Shane King, and Shane King was actually one of the first people to come over here and play with Toronto Gators, first Australian to win ISCs, first Australian to become an all-world player, and he was actually one of the first people that picked up the phone and gave me a call.
Okay.
So that's quite special. Yeah, quite special.
Oh, terrific.
So we've had some extremely good Aussies pave the way for us, you know, made it a good representation of Australians, you know, the Shane Kings, Terry Downs, Chris Kiefel. You know, they've laid a good platform for us to get the exposure and come over and play. Yeah.
Now, there's going to be some guys that are going to be coming in the not-too-distant future. Your good friend Andrew Kirkpatrick, Nick Shales, I'm sure Adam Falkert is a lock. there will be some guys to follow. How do you feel? How do you view them now from your spot now?
Whoa, big shot. Gone.
Got all of that one,
yeah,
I think,
did
Benny?
He did, yeah. Quite an amazing player, isn't he?
He is. He absolutely is.
Yeah. Look, I feel that, going to your question, I feel very privileged that I've been able to play alongside and against those players. I believe they made me a better player than I actually was. You know, they're future Hall of Famers, all of them.
I don't know, Jeff. I saw you play a lot. You were a damn good player.
But it was only because I'm around those type of people, right? Like, you know,
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
They elevate your game, and it's very humble. Like, you know, so Adam Folkard, Andrew Kapach, we're all from the same city, so that's another special connection in itself. You know, we've known each other for a very long time, since junior softball. So it's good to be back at the ballpark and actually watching them play. You know,
yeah, that's great. You've got. You've got a lot of people to watch here because Adam's playing over there. You've got the Gremlins here. You're making the rounds, are you?
Absolutely. I'm very excited to be back at the ballpark. Let's put it that way. You know, I don't. Another one.
And that is another one. Cole Evans this time.
Yeah, I don't actually get back to the ballpark very much, even at home. I coach my kids. With Andrew Kirkpatch, we all coach our kids, and that's pretty much the only time I get back to the ballpark. So
I heard you say this morning that maybe they'll listen to me now that I'm a Hall of Famer.
They've already told me they won't. They've already told me. No, so it is good to be back at such a great event.
Yeah.
And watching some other Australians perform on the biggest stage.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What's the one endearing memory that you take away from your time at the ISC World Tournament over the years? Is there one that stands out, or is it just the collectivity of the friendship and the competition?
I think it's hard to put a finger on any of it. Like, I don't know. It's playing with your best mate. Like, Andrew and I are best mates. You know, we've known each other since we were kids. So to get to come over here and achieve the things that we were able to achieve on the field, we achieved quite a lot together. So seeing your best mate, and you know what a career he's had, right?
That's
you know, I've had a front row seat to his phenomenal career. So you know, that's probably one. Getting to play with all these Hall of Famers I've played for, you know, sitting next to the dugout and Darren Zach. You know, that's
a pretty cool thing when you've only been in the game or at the ISC here for a couple of years and you get to sit with a legend like the Z-Man.
That's right. Second year in, I'm sitting right beside Darren Zach.
How good is that?
Yeah. You know, he just carries an aura around him, right? You know, and most friendliest person you've ever seen.
Was that something that you picked up on? Because I know your reputation was always you had time for everybody. You were willing to sit and talk with the fans, with the other players. I never heard anybody ever say a cross word about Jeff Goulagon.
Oh, that's always nice to hear, isn't it? You know, it's I don't know. I guess that's just the way you're brought up. You know, it's always be kind and courteous and respect everyone else, and you'll get that back.
Oh, that's great. Listen, Jeff, thanks for joining us here tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, there's a few people probably. I'd like to say thank you to all my family that made it today and travelled across the world. There's obviously a couple other Australians that got some shirts and jumpers made up, which is very special. It makes you feel quite humble.
And there's a full team of Aussies here too. The Sydney Tropics team. That's quite the representation here.
Yeah, we're very fortunate, you know, that Tropics have come over this year and taken the invite up. I think some of the players there will get a lot out of this tournament, and will probably elevate the game. But you know, the other memory, just I don't know, playing with all these people and meeting such as yourself. You know, we've known each other for a lot of years now, you know.
Yeah, it's got to be 10, 12 years at least. Yeah,
we've had lots of chats at the ballpark, and those are the kind of conversations that I really enjoy, you know, just catching up with people, chatting about the game, chatting about life, and seeing where everyone's at.
No, that's fantastic to hear. Jeff, thanks for joining us up here. You're more than welcome anytime you want to drop by here this week. Love to have you, but thanks tonight for joining us, and I know you've got some celebrations still to get to, so we'll let you enjoy the evening.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for having me up here, mate.
As always, a pleasure. And congratulations. Hall of Famer, how does that sound?
Just gave me goosebumps, mate.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Well, great interview. You always want to take advantage of having Hall of Famers, and this year's crop is a special one. You just heard from Jeff Goolagong earlier today. Donnie Hale joined us. And thanks to Blair for conducting those interviews. Well, Ben Anoka has done what Ben Anoka does. He's hit a grand slam. And the Gremlins now very much in control by a count of 7-0 as this inning continues. They've scored 6 times in the inning. As I catch up with Mr. Abry and Hunter at second and first respectively, and the batter is Lucio Retamar, the Argentine national team member. And good pitch from Lindgren. Six Gremlin runs. They're in command against the Steveston Canadians. We'll see more of Jack Besgrove when we return to Softball City.
Does your game need work? Want to get better every game? Every at-bat? You need Lumberjack Sports, focusing on exceptional quality and providing players with reliable, long-lasting product. Lumberjack Sports brings you in-game equipment and off-field workout gear, designed and tested by top fastball player Nick Shales. Hard work, strength, and all-around commitment to getting the job done, and done right, is the motto for Lumberjack Sports. Learn from the best. Play like the best. Check out lumberjacksports.ca.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with See you soon.
The New York Gremlins sent 11 batters to the plate and scored 6 runs in the bottom of the second, and for a third consecutive inning, the ace still works. Jack Besgrove facing right fielder Logan Newman. Newman did not participate in the win yesterday, not according to the box score. And working ahead is Besgrove, who, Joe, not always easy as a pitcher when you have to wait as long as he just did in terms of staying in a groove.
Yeah, you have to stay in the game mentally, too.
Ooh, there's a quality cut. Maybe the best swing of any Steveston Canadian, just taken by Logan Newman.
And considering the sun's right in Newman's eyes right now, too, this stage of the game, where the sun is up in the setting sun.
Well, Newman looking for strikeout number 7 for Besgrove. And if you just joined us, he's only faced 7.
Yes. And so far, they've all been special case.
Well, he's a special performer. There's no doubt about it. The 20-year-old Australian, 20 years of age. And goes upstairs, swing and a miss from Dustin Murrah. The Steveston first baseman, and this is his first at-bat of the 2024 ISC Men's World Tournament, as the tournament has returned to British Columbia. Nice to have it back in Canada.
Yes.
For the first time since Kitchener 2018?
2018, correct.
It's the last time I was lucky enough to at least take in some of the action. And great to have my first opportunity to help you guys out a little bit this week, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure, even though the research took a bit of a beating early on. The 1-2 pitch.
I'll never forget that
No,
one,
you won't. No, you will not.
That and the Juan Cruzara camera cleaning.
Joe, I love you. Nicest man in softball. If you can't enjoy working with this guy, you should just quit working, period. That's strikeout number 8. And here is Matt Deutsch, who, along with playing at a very competitive level, also coaches, which is awesome, giving back.
Very important to give back. If every one of these players gave back, we'd have a lot more kids playing ball.
Now, it's not really, and he coaches a girls' team or a young women's team.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, and you hope, Joe, at least I do, and I know you would with your great involvement in the game for a long time. You'd like to see a tournament like this maybe turn on some more young men to playing the game in our country, in this part of the world. A long run for Anoka and can't get there. And listen to the round of applause for Matt Deutsch. See, when you give, sometimes you get.
Yeah.
And there's one Matt won't forget for quite some time. Not everybody can say they have a hit off Jack Besgrove. Can you tell your partner that he's a little behind in the storytelling?
Can't keep up. Well, there's a lot of fans here tonight from that Lower Mainland Fastball League.
Yeah.
They have an 8-team league in the Vancouver area, and they're expanded by one team last year. Got a very strong league going.
Which is fantastic.
The Richmond A's participate, Polo Dukes, Surrey Rebels, Ladner Masters, Richmond A's, new team Langley Hounds.
Well, that's fantastic.
Great to see the game growing.
Well, we hope it continues. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, events like this can make a huge difference. Well, Besgrove gave up a hit, and then he struck out the next batter for his 9th strikeout as he sat down Tyler Cookhouse, who came in to bat. We'll go to the bottom of the third. It's 7-0 for the New York Gremlins.
Do you need a reliable supply of products to run your business? Are you tired of having to deal with multiple suppliers to get everything you need? Absolute Business Supply is your dedicated, full-service business supply partner offering over 400,000 products and unmatched customer service. At ABS, we aren't just selling products. We offer a commitment to building meaningful relationships with our customers, getting to know your business goals so we can provide the best possible solutions for your needs. Find us on the web at absolutebusinesssupply.ca and let us get it for you.
Well, not only can the Ohio Bomber players play fast pitch softball, they can dance.
They got the rhythm.
They got some moves. Greg Garrity comes into the game for the starting pitcher, Tyler Lindgren, who I thought did a nice job.
Did very well.
Gave up only 4 hits. The walks created some havoc for him in the bottom of the second, but he gives way.
Did have 4 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work,
which is very impressive against this group. And here comes the number 8 hitter, Ladislav Malerzuk from Argentina. Remember when he was just a youngster playing at the Pan Am Games in Ajax, Ontario, obviously part of World Junior Championship teams with Argentina and the Men's World Championship in 2019, Joe, that you were able to be in attendance for in Prague.
A great week out there.
And that country, Czechia, is really growing in this game on both the men's and the women's side, I might add.
And they have spent a lot of money on their program. They're willing to travel, put the teams on a plane, get some experience. A lot of the pitchers over there are now making their way over to North America, playing on club teams here, gaining some valuable experience.
Well, the Gremlins have one of them on their staff, and Jakub Osichka, who had a very solid performance at the ASA National Tournament a couple of weeks ago. As Garrity, the veteran, misses down and away. 3 balls and a strike to Malerzuk. And Malerzuk struck out his first time up against Lindgren. I'm always fascinated with how he holds his bat with the 2 hands apart.
Yes.
I see that a lot more in high-level women's play than I do in the men's game. But what this guy can hold it wherever he wants. It's been working for a long time.
He has a very quick bat. Amazing bat speed.
He's 30 all of a sudden. And there's some bat speed, and there's the star of the night, Matt Deutsch. Coaches, fields, gets hits off of Besgrove. Now, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a part of what this tournament is about, too.
Yeah.
And he does coach Marvin, the Music Man's daughter. And I'm guessing he does a very fine job. All right. So the circus that you're listening to at home, we should probably limit it to 1 ring instead of the 3, as it's completely out of hand here on a Sunday night. But as I say,
it's only our second night.
But if you can't have fun, then you might as well leave. We're not saving lives up here. Let's get that straight. And we're not breaking any banks either. Let me get that straight, too. And here's Nick Mullins. As the ball down from Garrity for a ball. One of the great receivers as far as catchers in the game, Nick Mullins, and has been for a considerable amount of time. He's 39 years of age now, from Toms River, New Jersey. I remember when Toms River, New Jersey won the Little League Baseball World Series. And I think Chris Drury was a member of that team, the longtime hockey star.
Yes.
So I can't ever hear the name Toms River, New Jersey without thinking about that particular event, which is starting up as well in Williamsport in the next week.
Nick was a semi-pro baseball player before he converted and came over to fastball.
Not surprising. Isn't that the case, Joe, with almost all the high-level American players?
Yes, it shows the extension of the game that the next group of players can come over and join. Nick loves the game now too.
Well, and has played it, as you know, at a high level for a long time.
He lives in Florida and spends a lot of time working with the pitchers in the off season.
Student of the game. One of the best as he fouls that Greg Garrity pitch back to the screen. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. The Gremlins with 6 runs to pave the way to this 7-0 lead in the second. On a beautiful night in Surrey at Softball City took something off. Mullins sat on it and walloped it into left for a base hit.
Good patience by Mullins to sit back on that pitch and drive it.
Stayed with the changeup, kept the hands back, and ripped it. Nick was 3 for 16 in Denmark, Wisconsin in this event 1 year ago. And now Matthew Waugh, who's been on base twice, he opened the game with a triple and then scored on an Eric Ochoa groundout. That's how the Gremlins got on the board to begin tonight in the bottom of the first. Now, Blair has mentioned it. Joe, we have mentioned it in our games today. If you're one of the elite teams, you really don't want to have to play many more innings than are required, correct?
Yeah, you want to play a minimum number of innings, get off the field. Don't want to spend too much time at the ballpark early in the week.
No, it's a long week. And the fun thing about this tournament is it just, with every passing day, the competition gets better and better and better. And that's not just in the winner's bracket. That's can be said in the loser's bracket and then the teams that make their way into the ISC 2 competition. So everybody here, all the teams, 36 is what we
correct.
ended up with.
Yep.
And they'll all be guaranteed at least 4 games, which is fantastic. Well, the New York Gremlins, they have their sights set on playing here on Saturday night. That's when the championship final will be staged at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And certainly not the prohibitive favorite to win again, but the number 1 ranked team. And there have not been many events that they have not won this year as a group.
They have been the cream of the crop.
They've had quite a rivalry this year with Hill United. And they have played some marvelous games against one another. And no one, I don't think, would be surprised if they met for the title. Greg Garrity seemed a little surprised that the ball came back at him the way it did. And now he doesn't like that one, so he's going to use another. So Matthew Waugh, the longtime Canadian national team member, and certainly, well, can't imagine he won't be a big part of the Canadian team next year at the Men's World Cup in Prince Albert. He didn't like that call, though. As Garrity strikes out Matthew Waugh, much to his chagrin, for the second out. So Garrity in place of Ryan Lindgren, and now it's Eric Ochoa. Has a run batted in on a ground out, but he's 0 for 2 in the game. Looking to change that. Joe, the thing about this Gremlins lineup, there is not one player in the 9 that can't hit the ball out of the ball yard.
Yes, a very solid lineup, 1 through 9, just that you had talked. And they all have power. They all got different talents, but each and every one of them have that ability to knock the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, there are no easy outs in this lineup. Absolutely zero with a capital Z. As Ochoa would like to add to the advantage and pick up his first hit, and he just missed it. He's 31 years of age, an impressive .409 batting average here last year, 2-time All-World member, will play for the United States again at the upcoming Men's World Cup Group C event in Oklahoma City that starts September the 17th. Japan will be there. They'll be the 2 favorites of the 6 teams to punch their 2 tickets to Prince Albert. And Ochoa goes down swinging himself. Greg Garrity, still something left in that tank.
Yes.
Back-to-back strikeouts.
2 big strikeouts.
And a rare 0 We'll head to the fourth. It remains 7-0 for the Gremlins.
Let's talk about a local one-stop shop. Live Well for Life is just that, a fitness, nutrition, and therapy facility all under one roof. Located at 3878 Wellington Street in Mitchell, Ontario, you can get so much done in just one visit. A full complement of staff on hand include chiropractic, massage, and personal training to get you back to your healthy self. Find them on the web at livewellforlifeinc.com or give
Live Well for Life, a proud sponsor of the broadcast program.
Concessions, got food trucks, souvenirs. That looks tasty, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, just what I need, another meal. Not so much. We do have a new pitcher, Pablo Migliavaca. Ooh, a little pulled pork, mac and cheese. Stop it, Luciano, please. Everybody's hungry late in the day. Migliavaca from Argentina comes in place of Jack Besgrove, who gave up a hit and struck out 9 in his 3 innings of work to get his tournament underway. And Migliavaca, 31 years of age. Joe, I did not find pitching numbers for him from the tournament in Denmark, Wisconsin.
That is correct. He was absent for that tournament.
Softball research isn't always the easiest to come up with, and I wanted to throw it out there at you because it did seem a little odd, but so he was with Hill United in his last ISC tournament where he went 1-2 in 2022, and the changeup, and you just had a look at it. It's as good as there is in the business, isn't it?
Yes, it's very smooth. Nice equal amount of footwork, leg drive.
You know, he's not certainly heralded the same way Jack Besgrove is, but in 2024, he pitched Argentina to the Pan American Championship where he was the star pitcher. He was terrific in Prince Albert, where he went 3-0 in 11 innings of work, gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, struck out 22. So he's having himself a dynamite 2024 and would like to cap it off with a World ISC title as he strikes out the first batter that he faces. And now facing Steveston Canadian and not catcher Yoshi Hikita, but number 8, who is Miles Martinyuk. Martinyuk was a key member of yesterday's win. In fact, he was 2 for 3 against Pukeis in their convincing triumph on day number 1 with 2 runs batted in. And Miles facing Pablo Migliavaca and gets a piece of that. New catcher as well for the Gremlins as Blake Hunter has come in to the game in place of Nick Mullins. Everything else, I think, trying to see from the spot, seems to be the same. Ochoa, Malarzuk, Evans, and Avery certainly in the infield. And this is a hard hit ball. A base hit, his 3rd of the event for Miles Martinyuk. He's 3 for 4 at the ISC.
And a great rise from the crowd again, supporting this Lower Mainland team.
And Joe, this is a no-doubter. That's a well-hit ball past the outstretched glove of Malarzuk. And now it's Greg Garrity, the pitcher, started the game as the designated player. And struck out against Besgrove his first time up.
Great change up there by Pablo there.
And the one thing that I've really noticed, he's not afraid to throw it at any time in any count. And there's another one.
That's what the great Todd Martin always said. If you have a changeup, you got to be willing to throw it at any count.
Well, Todd might have possessed as great a changeup as anyone has ever had.
Yes.
The two best in the men's game I have ever witnessed over the years, Glenn Jevney and Todd Martin. They'd be 1-2 for me in that list. Your list is much longer to start with, but those two would be right up there for me. As a longtime connoisseur, certainly even more so at the international level, I would say, than this particular event.
I'm not sure if I ever saw Jevney pitch. I wonder, was Jevney involved with the Western teams back in mid-'80s?
Yes, he sure was.
Because Kitchener hosted the All-Canadians in maybe 85, 84.
That was right when he was in really his prime. In fact, he threw one of the greatest international games I ever saw, Canada and the United States, on a Friday night at the 1988 World Men's Championship. And there was an outfielder, and I don't even want to mention his name, who dropped an easy fly ball in right field, and it led to the Americans winning 2-0. And Jevney only gave up 2 hits all night. He was spectacular. The United States, behind the pitching of New Zealanders, Pete Meredith and Michael White won that world championship, beating New Zealand in the final. But Jevney, longtime player with the Camrose Merchants and others. Yes, he did play in the Western Major Fastball League, which you're referring to, Joe.
I can remember the team ABC Clutch.
Yeah, Alberta Break and Clutch out of Calgary. He played for them, too.
Marty Kernahan.
Marty Kernahan, one of the truly great players. It's funny, the more I watch Cole Evans, the more I think about Marty Kernahan in terms of guys who... Marty Kernahan, like, he oozed smooth.
Yeah.
In every way, I might add. What a player.
Give credit to the Sevens and Canadians for back-to-back singles.
And there's a good-looking bunt attempt. And he beat it out.
Good wheels going down that line.
Clint Taylor. So 3 straight hits. And Steveston, his story time now comes to an end. In business with Ryan Shields, the center fielder, at the plate. That was Ron Daines, the pinch hitter, in place of Clint Taylor, who dropped that down. So a little intrigue in the 4th. Only 1 out. Shields struck out against Besgrove. Migliavaca has not fared as well. And that is punch foul down the left field line. And the crowd is making this a fun night.
Yes. Right into it. That's what you like.
Always makes it a little better. Sun starting to set. Joe, isn't this a spectacular facility?
Beautiful. It's my first time out, and I'm very impressed.
Not many like it. I still have a pretty soft spot for the 2 parks in my hometown of Saskatoon.
Been to that park a couple of times.
Bob Van Imp and my all-time favorite, Gordie Howe, which is not what it used to be. But that's a fabulous facility. Wait till you see the indoor facility that they have on the grounds there now. Not to mention all the auxiliary diamonds. Saskatoon hosted this tournament all the way back in 1987 to massive crowds.
Great pitch.
Little up movement, and look at Migliavacchi. He's mad at himself. He didn't expect to be in this kind of scenario after entering the game in this inning, but he gets a big strikeout, his second, on a changeup that was still moving upwards. And here's the right fielder, Logan Newman. 2 outs, bases loaded. Best chance, certainly, if Steveston wants to hang around a little longer.
Got a little bit of a rally going here.
And a good cut by Newman.
Great drop ball there by Migliavacchi.
Would that be his second best pitch in your opinion?
Yes, for sure.
See if he goes right back there again, or
I imagine Mullins will call that pitch. Well, Blake Hunter's catching, I believe.
He is.
Blake Hunter's catching. Sorry, didn't catch that till now.
So Newman versus Migliavacchi. Looks in, shakes off. Shakes Blake Hunter off twice, and now they're going to talk about it. Yeah, not one shake off, but 2. Now Migliavacchi, you see there's a great shot. Me and you, Blake, me and you.
Concentrating on that mitt.
Evans, the short way to end the bases loaded rally and end it. Steveston, they more than threatened, but unable to score. It remains 7-0 New York.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Matiosi. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making a suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Greg Garrity back in the circle after Steveston, the Canadians from British Columbia, threatened, loaded the bases, but unable to cash in. This guy coming to home plate, he's cashed in, Joe, already tonight in about as big a way as you can.
Grand slam home run in the second inning.
Part of a 6-run second for the Gremlins, the reigning ISC world champions. Looking to get the job done again. And there'll be a tough out. Garrity takes something off for the pitch to Beninoka.
Garrity threw a lot of changeups in that third inning. Just trying to throw off the timing.
You know where this guy's going when he's done, right? The same place that others went today. I got to believe Inoka's going to the Hall of Fame at some point, isn't he?
Oh, yes, for sure.
7-time All-World, 2-time MVP. And he's a long ways from being done.
Yeah, I would think he's still got a long career still ahead of him. Or we hope he does. Or I do anyway.
It's not every day that you hit a grand slam on your birthday.
No.
But he did, turned 35. Today, my crack research helper, Joe Todd. Everybody needs a good helper. Lord knows I do. Off the bat. No. Ball spilt all over the place in this case. Catcher's laughing.
You got to have a good time.
Yeah. Well, we certainly are.
Yes.
It's Yoshi Hikita, who had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs yesterday. Had that throw get away from him. Anoka, oh my goodness. Off the glove of Garrity. Thank goodness it didn't hit him up high.
Good quick hands there by Anoka.
That's terrifying to watch.
Yes.
Oof. Maybe it didn't go off the glove, but it
Just
originally I thought I heard a little bit of a tick.
Yeah, I think it just went to his side.
Well, good thing it didn't hit him. That's all I can say. And here's a young player with great potential, Tane Mumu, who's from New Zealand. He won't turn 21 until, I believe, the 21st of October.
Good research.
Thanks, Joe.
Thought I'd throw that in.
Appreciate it. A little late for that, my friend. Who has more fun? He's from Hutt Valley. And actually, he'll turn 21 on October the 24th. He was 3 for 3 at the recently completed World Cup qualifier, Group B, in Prince Albert for New Zealand. And whose 2 hits came in a big game against Argentina in the playoffs. You want to talk about a guy who can flat out run.
He has good wheels.
Oh.
And a good quick jump on his first 2 steps.
Maybe as good as there is. Deutsch. No trouble with the pop-up from Mumu, who was batting in place of Cole Evans after the rocket off the bat of Anoka for his 2nd consecutive hit of the game. Brian Avery. Brian has been a terrific hitter, and you know that he'll have family and friends in attendance from Richmond, British Columbia.
I saw his baby daughter just before the game.
Ah, that's fantastic.
Grandpa had her in his arms.
What's better than that?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Maybe she'll grow up to play for Canada's national women's team.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure she'll be at the park.
Yeah,
She already is.
She already is.
Yeah.
Whether she likes it or not.
Yes.
Well, Brian mentioned a bit of a tough go at this event in Denmark, Wisconsin. Don't expect that again. That was an oddity for this guy. Very good for Canada earlier this year in Prince Albert, especially early in the tournament. Started the tournament with 4 hits in his first 5 at-bats, and 3 of them were doubles.
Well, just his versatility in the game. He can play right field, any field really. Can do some catching. Has a great DP.
A one-hopper and the tag applied by Garrity, who came over the pitcher, and they'll have a little conversation just to make sure everything's okay. It's a pretty hard tag. Against Brian, who's a 2-time All-World member himself. Blake Hunter. When Blake Hunter gets hot, Joe, little stops this guy.
Yes.
He is capable of getting on some run. 37 years of age from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Another BC boy playing at home in this tournament. Blake now catching. Came in the last half inning to do that, and I'm sure he'll be there in the 5th when the Gremlins will have a chance to end this game with 3 more outs. We'll see if they add to this 7-0 advantage. Runner in scoring position in Anoka. And Greg Garrity asking about the pitch. Now he'll tuck himself back in. One game to come before the night is over. And it'll be the Hill United Chiefs against the Seattle Dirt Dogs.
I love that name.
Yeah, me too. Well, the Dirt Dogs were winners yesterday. Hill United heavily favored to be right in the thick of it at the end, make their debut. Did Hunter go around? They're going to ask.
Tom Keller, the first base umpire from St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Well, I hope he doesn't like a football team that wears purple, because no team in the history of my lifetime has created more grief than those purple guys.
Another frustrated Viking fan.
Oh, just 56 years of it, Joe. Outside of that, it's just been awesome.
It's tough to find a replacement for Fran Tarkenton.
Oh, is it ever? Well, a few other issues. I shouldn't have said 56. I don't want to age myself. But it has been about 52. That love affair started when I was 6. I always say the Minnesota Vikings are like that family member that you love, but you sure as hell don't like them.
You don't invite him for Christmas.
Oof. Maybe just once they'll get back to the big game.
Good eye at the plate by Hunter.
Blake Hunter taking ball 4 from Greg Garrity, who replaced the starter, Tyler Lindgren, who did have 4 strikeouts before leaving against this vaunted Gremlin attack. So the walk. Avery back in, courtesy runner for the catcher with 2 out. And Joe, you know a thing or two about the rules in this event. That one is new this year, is it not?
No, it's been in. Yes, sorry, you are correct. I'm thinking back in league play, but that was a new rule brought in just last year.
So Lucio Retamar. Some movement from Garrity, but he missed the outside corner with that curveball. Ball and a strike, 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th inning in a 7-0 lead for the reigning ISC champs. As Retamar, also from Argentina, fouls that pitch back.
Retamar a little late on that pitch.
He's just 24 years of age. He was 5 for 16 with a triple and a run batted in as a member of the JB Bombers in last year's tournament.
A great addition to this New York Gremlins team.
Bright future for this guy. Deutsch knocked it down, but this time the ball gets away. Did everything he could, and that should be scored a base hit.
I have it a hit in my book.
And now I have it as a hit in mine. And what we think
really doesn't matter.
No. Well said. And a change. Gonzalo Masmu. Another player who hails from the country of Argentina. It's the other thing about this sport that I've loved in the last 10, 12 years. It has really grown internationally.
Yes, we started out Argentina and Venezuela and a few of the South American countries. Now we're into Europe. Australia and New Zealand have always been a big package. Go ahead.
Masmu, his first at-bat. Well, all he did was clear the bases.
Yeah.
A 3-run double by the product of Argentina. And he had 1 at-bat in the entire tournament last year. Well, his first one this year is pretty darn good.
He's got a good average.
1 for 1 with a double and 3 runs batted in for Gonzalo Masmu, and the difference is 10. As Nick Mullins continues to hit, even though he's out of the game as far as defensive responsibilities are concerned.
Well, they just flip-flop. Mullins is now the designated player. Blake Hunter started as the original designated player, so they just switched. As long as the batting order stays the same, they can do that.
Those rules over the years have changed.
Yes.
The flex, and almost had to go to school, Joe, again a few years ago to, at one point it was pretty simple. There was a DH, and you could only, when you used a batter for your pitcher, then you had to remove the pitcher.
Yeah, the old style.
The old style.
Yeah.
Now you got the flex and through the two blues, he's made it, and you can pretty much substitute any which way you want.
Well, the flex gives a lot more options to your coaches, gets a lot more players involved in the game.
Yeah, I don't dislike them. They're just very different.
Yes.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Nick Mullins, who's now the designated player, started the game as the catcher. And fouls this into the batter's box where Matthew Waugh with a little toss. He's due up next. A 3-run double off the bat of pinch hitter Gonzalo Masmu, adding to the Gremlins' advantage. They are 3 outs away regardless of what happens in the rest of this inning. The Seattle Dirt Dogs and the Hill United Chiefs to close it out on day 2 of this 2024 ISC Men's World Tournament.
Nick Mullins making sure he covered that plate, protected that plate there, fouled it off, waiting for his pitch. Good job by Mullins with 2 strikes.
Garrity reaching back in that rosin rag. I know there's a particular name for it.
Gorilla Gold.
Gorilla Gold. That's relatively new too, I might add. Feels that way to me.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah.
10, 12 years.
It's relatively new.
Yeah.
Everything's advanced, Joe.
Yes.
Just like the years on my passport.
And my birth certificate.
Yeah, mine too. Matthew Waugh, he has tripled in the game. Struck out the last time. He's also walked. Batted .500 in Denmark, Wisconsin 1 year ago. Amongst the tournament leaders in hits with 10.
Lights have been turned on now on Diamond 1 in Southpaw City.
Wind blowing out towards right center. If you look at the flags out there. Ball gets up in the air. Ball doesn't carry as well here, Joe, at night. That is for sure. I've noticed that in many events I've been a part of here. Big high chopper and a base hit and a run batted in for Matthew Waugh. Masmu scores easily from second. And the difference is 11. As Gonzalo will get a little love on his way to the dugout for his pinch hit 3-run double. So a second hit for Matthew Waugh. And Eric Ochoa still in search of his first. This is not an easy play. Now we've got runners caught, and Mullins is tagged out. Even the defending champions make mistakes.
Yes.
They've added 4. They lead 11-0 and will attempt to close it out in the top of the 5th.
stretcher, and inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud.
Back for the start of the fifth. The defending champion, New York Gremlins, 3 outs away from winning their first, to no one's surprise. Been a fun game, though.
Yes.
Steveston loaded the bases. 4 hits. They had 3 of them in that last inning when they loaded the bases in the fourth. And this one is hit relatively well. And gone. A home run. And a no-doubter, in fact. That had a chance right from the get-go. Brody Fraser. Or is it Foster?
No, it's Fraser.
It's Fraser.
Nova Scotia boy.
Yes. Who will also pitch for this team. Brody Fraser comes in, the Halifax product, and kisses one goodbye. So Steveston on the board. That's an exciting moment. Great start. Here's Matt Deutsch. Steveston has made a lot of changes in the game, which is great. You want everybody to get in. You don't face this type of competition if you're the Steveston Canadians very often. So why not use your bench, give everybody a go?
And especially with the big crowd here.
Yeah.
Playing against the hometown favorite team here now. Playing in the big league, in the Lower Mainland League. A good crowd here supporting this team.
Yes, and they've been vocal.
Extremely.
Which is made for more fun than most 11-1 games would generally provide. I'm not sure Pablo Migliavaca is having a lot of fun. A highly competitive person, as all these players are. You don't reach the kind of levels that high-end players do if you're not really competitive, as Migliavaca comes back after giving up the home run and strikes out
Deutsch.
Mr. Deutsch. And Tyler Cookhouse, who came into the game earlier and made an out, is the batter with 1 out. To keep the game going, in case you're wondering, as far as run rule is concerned, still a lot of work to do, Joe, for Steveston.
Yeah, there's a 7-run differential rule on the run-ahead rule. Right now it's at 10.
When a team is batted 5 times.
The 3 different mercy rules, 15 after 3, 12 after 4, and 7 after 5.
2 strikes. There's the marvelous change of pace. Maybe as good a change up as he's thrown since he came into the game, replacing the starter Jack Besgrove, who did give up 1 hit. Pop single to Matt Deutsch and struck out the other 9 that he faced. So 2 away and down to their last out for the Steveston Canadians. As they look to stay alive. Joe, always interesting when you look at your lineup card and the numbers don't match. Do you see a 4 there anywhere? I don't see a 4.
I don't see a 4 either.
You know what? It makes the job a wee bit difficult. Not a big fan of that either, I might add.
No. Now, it is just a clerical error. It's not an automatic ejection.
No, I actually think this is Brad Miller. just think maybe,
Switch sweaters?
well, or the 9,
And
the
9
4,
was a 4?
the 4 was
Sure.
a 9.
Sure.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
999, call it whatever you want. Here's what I can tell you. It's game over. So the Gremlins do what the Gremlins do. They win, and certainly heavily favored, but give the Steveston Canadians a lot of credit. Fun game. Fans were into it. For Joe Todd, Luciano Lafrano, Carl DeReste, Blair Setford, and everyone else who's involved in this glorious production, so long for about 25 minutes until we return with the final game, Hill United and those Seattle Dirt Dogs.
Yes.
Bye for now.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com